But you are fake, Sharon.
Sharon, why pretend? Ma, that's the dessert page.
Oh, sorry, I mean this one.
That's imported steak, ma, 45,000. Are you ready to order?
This one.
Sharon had two versions of herself. The real one, the one who lived in a one-room apartment with peeling paint, shared a bathroom with noisy neighbors, and sometimes cooked with candles when Nipa misbehaved. And the Instagram one, the version everyone admired. On Instagram, Sharon lived soft hair, soft skin, soft life, luxury outfits, borrowed, designer bags, rented, airport pictures, taken outside Murtala Muhammad Airport, she never entered, private jet photos, free lounge display she sneaked into, restaurant selfies, she only bought bottled water but posed like she ordered the whole menu. Her followers called her rich auntie vibes, soft life queen, God when level. They didn't know the truth. Not yet. Sharon wasn't wicked. She just wanted to be admired, to be desired, to belong. She worked in a small office as a receptionist. Her salary couldn't buy the wigs she posed with. But Instagram made her feel visible, powerful, wanted. Until the day her two worlds finally collided. His name was Daniel. Tall, neat, handsome, soft-spoken. The kind of man whose presence made women smile without realizing. He found Sharon's page on a Sunday afternoon. He scrolled once. 8 times. Her pictures were stunning, her poses elegant, her outfits glamorous. He sent her a DM. Hi beautiful. Are you free next Friday? I'd love to take you out for dinner. Sharon's heart slammed against her chest. A real rich guy. A real date. A real chance to finally live the life she pretended to have. She typed back quickly. Yes, of course. I'd love to. Daniel responded. Perfect. Choose the restaurant. Somewhere nice. You know all the soft life places, right? Sharon froze. Her mouth went dry. Choose the restaurant. The restaurants she posed in were ones she never actually entered. The places she tagged were expensive spots she could never afford. But Daniel thought she was one of them. The girls who ordered Italian wine casually, who had a favorite sushi spot in Victoria Island, who knew menu prices offhand. She forced a smile at her phone. Of course, she typed. I'll pick a place. When she pressed send, her hands trembled. Friday was 4 days away. 4 days until her lie became real. Or exploded. Sharon spent the next 4 days in panic. She went through Instagram pages of luxury restaurants. Sky Garden, Noir, Shiro, RSVP, The Harvest, Stories, Craft Gourmet. The pictures alone made her heart beat faster. The menu prices. She couldn't even swallow. A plate of pasta cost more than half her salary. But she couldn't tell Daniel the truth. Not after she built her whole page on luxury and elegance. Thursday night, she stood in front of her mirror wearing a rented dress and borrowed heels. Her friend Tonia, who lived 2 streets away, sat on the bed watching her.
Sharon, you need to calm down. It's just dinner.
Just dinner? If I embarrass myself, Instagram will drag me like chewing gum. Daniel will think I'm fake.
But you are fake, Sharon.
Hit Sharon like cold water. She was living a borrowed life. A life made of angles, lighting, and lies. But tomorrow she would face reality. And reality never used filters. Friday evening arrived like a nightmare wrapped in glitter. Sharon stepped out of her compound wearing the rented gold dress, the borrowed heels, the wig she planned to return by Sunday. She looked expensive. She felt terrified. Her entire body shook as she entered the taxi.
Where you dey go, madam?
To the Terrace restaurant in VI.
Big girl, that place no be for small money, oh.
Sharon forced a smile. She couldn't afford fear now. When she arrived, the building glowed with warm lights and soft jazz music floated in the air. Luxury cars lined the parking lot, cars that cost more than her entire street. She stepped out slowly, praying her shoes wouldn't break. Daniel was already outside waiting. And oh God, he was even more handsome in real life. Fresh haircut, neat white shirt, calm, expensive scent.
Wow. You look even better than your pictures.
He offered his arm. She took it. They entered the restaurant. Everything inside looked like a movie. A chandeliers glowing softly, a waiters in black uniforms, couples speaking in low voices, a plates clinking gently. Sharon felt like she didn't belong, like the walls knew she was fake. But she lifted her chin and acted confident. A waiter approached. "Welcome. Table for two." Daniel nodded. They sat. Menus were placed in front of them. And that was when Sharon's nightmare truly began. Sharon opened the menu. And her spirit left her body. Prices. Prices everywhere. She blinked to make sure she wasn't hallucinating. Nope. Everything was still expensive. Her hand began trembling so badly she had to place the menu on her lap.
You always post nice restaurants. You must know the best things on the menu here. What do you recommend?
Her heart stopped. Recommend. Recommend what? She had never eaten here. Never even entered before. All her pictures were taken outside the restaurant, standing beside the flower wall. She forced a laugh.
Everything here is lovely.
Oh? So what do you usually order when you come here?
I don't really have just one thing.
Interesting, because this restaurant just opened 3 weeks ago. You've never been here before, have you? Sharon, why pretend? Why do you pretend to be rich when you're not?
Because nobody looks at you when you're poor.
Are you ready to order?
This one!
Ma, that's the dessert page.
Oh, sorry, I mean this one.
That's imported steak, ma, 45,000. Let's take something simple for now. 2 plates of pasta, please.
Yes, sir.
Sharon's cheeks burned with shame. She stared at her fingers, unable to lift her head. But the night was far from over. Her biggest embarrassment was still coming. Dinner passed in painful silence. Daniel tried to keep the conversation light, but Sharon's mind was spinning too fast. Every sound in the restaurant felt louder. Every laugh, every clinking plate, every whispered conversation. She felt like everyone could see through her dress, through her wig, through her entire Instagram life. She felt so hot that she wanted to pull off her wig. When the waiter finally brought their plates, her hands were still trembling. The pasta tasted amazing, perfectly seasoned, buttery, warm, but she barely tasted anything. Halfway through the meal, Daniel paused. "You know," he said quietly, "I don't care if you're rich or not. That's not why I asked you out." Sharon's was shocked to her bone marrows. She thought all that mattered was the big vibes and luxury. She stared at her plate. "Then why did you ask me?" she whispered. Daniel smiled gently. "Because you seem kind. 'Cause you're beautiful. 'Cause your smile is warm. Not because of restaurants or designer bags." She looked at him, eyes stinging. "But you thought I was rich." "Yes," he said honestly. "But only because you wanted me to believe that." Sharon looked away, shame washing over her again. Daniel sighed softly. "People will like you more if you let them meet the real you." Before she could respond, the waiter returned, smiling, polite, professional, with a small brown folder. "Your bill, sir." Daniel reached for it. But Sharon's stomach dropped, because the waiter suddenly turned to her and said, "And madam, your account name for the transfer?" Sharon froze. The waiter continued. "Since madam booked the table earlier today, the system placed the bill under her name." The world stopped moving in Sharon's head. Daniel turned slowly to Sharon. "You booked today." Her mouth went dry. I didn't. I just." Daniel reached for the folder calmly. "Don't worry. I'll handle the bill." But when he opened it, even he inhaled sharply. 92,400 Nigerian nairas. Sharon's heart slammed. The waiter stood waiting politely. Daniel reached for his phone. And then it happened. Transaction failed. Network error. He tried again. Failed. Again. Failed. The waiter cleared his throat. Maybe madam can try her own. Sharon felt her knees weakening. I don't, my bank, my card. People at nearby tables began glancing over. The waiter leaned closer. Ma, please. The bill has to be settled. Her eyes blurred with tears. I can't pay. The waiter frowned. Then why did you book a table at a luxury restaurant? Sharon's chest caved in. Her voice broke completely. I only took pictures outside. I've never eaten here in my life. Silence spread across the entire section. Daniel closed his eyes slowly. Not angry. Not rude. Just disappointed. He stood up, walked to the counter and tried his card again. Twice, until it finally succeeded. When he returned, he didn't sit. Let me drop you home, he said quietly. Sharon shook her head. I can't face you. Then at least let me walk you out. Daniel replied quietly. She stood slowly, wiping her face. As they walked out together, she felt every eye in the restaurant was looking at her. Every whisper. Every glance. The soft life queen. With no soft life. Outside the air was cool. Sharon hugged her body tightly. Daniel stood beside her, hands in his pockets. You don't have to impress me, he said softly. Just be honest next time. She nodded weakly. I'm sorry. I know, he replied. Taxi arrived. As she opened the door, Daniel added, You're enough, Sharon. With or without the lifestyle. That broke her completely. She got into the taxi and burst into tears the moment it moved. Not because of the bill. Not because of the embarrassment. But because someone finally saw the real her. And she realized how much she hated the lie she'd been living. When she got home, she stepped out of the taxi, looked at her small one-room apartment. And for once, she didn't feel ashamed of it. She opened Instagram, stared at her soft life queen page. Pictures in rented clothes, borrowed wigs, fake luxury. Then she did something she never imagined. She clicked delete post. She deleted almost everything. For the first time in her life, she chose the truth. Pretending will take you far. But the truth will always catch up. And when it does, you must decide who you really are. Sharon learned something powerful. It's not the fake life that destroys you. It's the moment life asks you to prove it. Be real. Be honest. Your true self will always shine brighter than any borrowed luxury.